Okay, basic editing tools. Now we are back here, and before we go into basic editing tools, I'll be showing you around the basic tools or the basic walkthrough of the Photoshop. Now, let's say we have our Photoshop here, or okay, let me quit, don't save, and go ahead and launch. Let me quit and go ahead and launch Photoshop. I launched Photoshop. Now I have Photoshop 2021 installed. This is what the interface looks like. You can, whatever version you have, doesn't matter. They pretty much have the same and similar feature to theirs. And if you're confused about anything, we can always do it together. Oops, encountered a problem. I quit that. Now we can see welcome to Photoshop. Now the first thing we have here is our home page or our landing page for Photoshop. Here you can see a list of recent works that has been done, throughout the course or throughout my using of the system. We can see create new if you want to create a new project, open if you want to open a new another project. You can also see a whole lot of tools up here. We have the Photoshop, we have the file, edit, image, layer, type, select, filter, 3D, view, plugins, windows, and help. We'll be coming to all that later. So this is the basic home page or interface for Photoshop. It might be different on your own, don't worry about that. So what we'll do is, the first thing we'll do is to create new. I'll be teaching you how to create a new file. The first thing is to click on create new. Now when you create new, it's going to bring, this is a recent, but for you that is new, it's going to be showing something else. But I have recent here, and on top here I have saved, I have photos, I have print, I have art and illustration, I have web, I have mobile, and I have film and videos. Now this is just trying to create for you a predefined dimension and setting. Like if I click on, let's say I click on this first one, by the right here we can see width. This first place for title is to tell us what the name of our work is. So let me say my first project, right? Or let's say my first design. That is better. Now we see the width, we see the height, we see the measuring here. Now this place that shows pixel is a measuring tool. If we click on the drop down, we'll see pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, point, and pickers. They are all measuring values in Photoshop. You can choose to make the measurement of your design in any way you like. For those that are printing, if you're pretty much good with the designs and width and height, you can choose it, but it's better to use pixels. Pixels is more flexible. What is a pixel? A pixel is the smallest unit of visibility on a system. Like if we have the whole of the screen now, the screen has a dimension, right? Like the one we're having 1920 width by 1080 height. That is to say, from the beginning of this line down to the end, from the right, left to the top, contains 192 units of measurement of an image. That is to say, if we go ahead and divide the screen into boxes, into tiny one single unit, we are going to have 1 pixels means 1 unit of measuration. Okay, now we have it. So we can choose to click on web. If you click on web, this is showing that the most commonly used size is this. We can see web large, this is for a large screen web, web medium, web minimum. If you go ahead and click on leaving other settings and click on create, we'll see what dimension we have. This is the dimension we have. This is what it looks like. If I go back and cancel it, go back to home, click on create new, and come to arts and illustration. We have 100 pixel grid. If you go ahead and click on this, This is what it's going to show you, a dimension of 1000 by 1000, exactly square. Okay, so we can go ahead and choose whatever design we want. We have print. If you want to print in letter size, tabloid, A4 size, A5 size, A6 size, A3 size, B5, and all the other sizes, you can choose A4 size, leave everything the way it is, and go ahead to click on create. It's going to bring out an A4 template. So whenever you want to design, you must the first thing while creating, you must know what dimension you want to create. Okay, so for this course, we'll be using different, let's start with an A4 design. I'm going to change this to pixels so we can see the dimension in width and height for the pixels. And we're going to rename it to, like I said, my first design. So now we have the resolution. What is a resolution? Resolution depend or can be meant in simple terms that how bright or how impressive the work is going to look. So the resolution shows the clarity or the impressiveness of your design. You can also change the resolution to pixels per inch or pixels per centimeter, but it's best to leave it as pixels per inch. Then we have color mode. Yeah, what is the color mode? The color mode, we have different types of color mode. We have the bitmap, the grayscale, the RGB color, and the CMYK color. Now, mostly emphasis are usually on either the RGB color mode or the CMYK color mode. And why is that? The RGB color mode comprises of the primary colors, and it it shows basically a combination of the primary colors, while the CMYK are more of the secondary colors, and mostly they are used for printing because of the color conversion. We'll be coming to that later when we are talking about how to export images. So if you want to design an image that is going to be printed, right, via printers and all that, it's best to design it with CMYK color, because CMYK color are easily separated by the printing machine. But if it's just going to be an online advert product, or a product you just want to digitally display product, you can just use RGB color mode. So you can choose your background. If you want your background to be white or color or transparent or custom, you can choose whatever you want your document. If I choose click on custom now, I have my color picker here, and a color picker can be used to change the color to whatever you want. If you slide this slider anywhere it is, it changes the color. Then you can come to the color board and click on any direction you want. It's going to change the color for you. If I click on OK, it selects the color my background is going to be. Okay, other settings here are better left alone. Then your color in bits is also best left at the default, unless you want to enhance or change the way your setting looks like. Okay, so I think the thing I've not talked about is the orientation here. We have the orientation here. This shows how you want it, either in landscape, or either in portrait or landscape. If you choose landscape, we're going to choose landscape and see what happens. So everything set, the name set, the design colors and all, the concept set, resolution and all that set. Click on create. Now notice that this is an A4, but because we chose on landscape, it's actually bent. Okay, so now, which brings us to the workspace. Now, before we work, it is very essential that we come and check the setting for our Photoshop. Now, if you come to the right here, we can see this box. If you click on it, we see three essentials: 3D, motion, painting, photography, graphic and web, and new workspace and delete workspace. Now these are the workspaces that shows the type of graphics you want to use. Basically, we use the essential. So if yours is not on essential, make sure you go back and click it and make it essential. Okay, that being said, we have this our menu. They all contain a lot of things I have showed you in the last place. We'll be talking about them one by one. We may not have the time to talk about every other extra thing, but before we go, we would make sure we touch one or two things that are essentially needed. Others are things you can figure out on your own. So the first thing we do is we come to our view. Now we'll make sure extra is ticked. We'll make sure our ruler is ticked. Why do we need our ruler? Okay, I've removed the ruler, put the ruler. Why do we need the ruler? To give us a creative concept and also to make us know when we are going out of dimension and all that. We come again, we click on snap. What does snap do? Make sure snap is ticked. What does snap do? Snap makes it easy for an image to adapt to a certain environment. We'll be understanding what that means in the next videos to come. Okay, we also have to do show. Click on show, click on smart guides. Make sure smart guides is ticked. Any other one can be ticked, but basically we want smart guides to be ticked. So that being said, we have that. Okay, then we come to Windows. For this one, this is just talking about the types of properties that should be shown, or the kind of icons that should be shown on this area here. This area here, we have some layers or characters or tools that are being imported here to make our work nice. So if you want anyone to be added to that side, we can come to Windows and click on what we want to be added, and it's going to be added there. Okay, let us say I click on shapes. We see that shapes has been added. Okay, so whatever we want to be added there, we come to Windows, we click on it, and we have here. But basically, there are my personal favorites are adjustments. Adjustments should be there, color, layers, and we can also add properties. Properties is also there. So it's very important that they are all there, especially this character. Character is a very important one. It helps for typography. That being said, then we have this here. This is our design panel which shows us what we are working on, which shows us the document we are working on. If we have more than, let's say I have this one open also. I also have this open. Now we can see that we have my first design is open here, mails is open here, Twitter is open here. So that means this panel shows us all the different things that are opened. Okay, so I can go ahead and cancel, close this and leave this open. Okay, if we come to our right side here, we have colors, swatches, gradients, and patterns. You can switch between them. We'll be using them later, so just make sure yours is looking like this. If yours is not looking like this, then we can walk through it. You can reach out to us through the comment section or through our social media handles or through the Telegram group and drop your message on your difficulty with a screenshot of what it looks like. Okay, so we have the adjustment layers also. This adjustment layer is going to be very, very important while we work on it. We have our libraries, don't worry about that. Adjustment layers. We can also come down. You see just between here you can navigate, increase or reduce. Then we have the last part here, which is the layers, channels and paths. Now what does the layers do? The layer shows every single layer in Photoshop. Now what is a layer in Photoshop? A layer in Photoshop is every different panel or every different design element that is currently on your Photoshop that you're working with. We'll be coming more of that later. Okay, then we have below here, these are some features. This is the max feature. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to press that. Delete layer mask. This is for adding a mask to layer. We'll get there later and all that. Okay, maybe I should just go. Then we come to the left here. This guy is here. Let me detach it so you see what I'm talking about. This guy is here on the left. This guy is here on the left. There are a variety of tools that you can use. The beauty about using a latest version of Photoshop is that once you put your mouse on it, it shows you what it does. Now we have the first one. The move tool is used to move a selection of a layer or move objects around the design space workspace. We have this one, the rectangular marquee tool. You can see what it does. You can use it to select a particular area in rectangular form. You can also right click any tool to see the various options that they have. Okay, so as we are working, we'll be working through the tools. We have the crop tool to crop an area. We have the brush tool to brush an area. You see, brush is like painting it. Ctrl Z. We have the clone tool. We have the eraser tool. We have the text tool. We have the shape tool, and so on and so forth that we'll be getting to as we work together.